Hey everybody, Ron Harris here, MD Online Editor. I got another version of Ask Ron for you. I asked you guys for some questions and you came through. Of course, most of them are about steroids, but what am I going to do? That's all you guys, a lot of you guys want to know about. So I'll start with the first one, which is first in the title, so you don't think I'm a clickbaiter and trying to make you watch the whole video and I never talk about it. I do. Here we go. Greetings from Manila. First of all, I hope you and your family are healthy and safe amidst the pandemic crisis. Yes, thank you. I would like to personally ask your opinion/advice regarding oral anabolic steroids. Which one or combination that you could recommend based on your personal experience as a pro bodybuilder? I'm not, like, came close, but no, I'm not a pro bodybuilder. / senior writer of MD, that I am. I did research about orals that are available here, such as dianabol, anavar, anadrol, and winstrol. My objective is to help me jumpstart in between testosterone boosters and injectables by taking micro dosages in a short period of time, example 8 to 12 weeks. I do take supplements like whey isolate, pre-workout, creatine, and branched chain amino acids. I work out at least 4 times a week, focusing on proper form, applying progressive overload and pyramiding. I started to follow bodybuilding weight training since 1995. Okay, you've been doing it a while, good for you. Until now, I prefer asking a pro, such as you. I know, I'm not a pro. Because of experience, I am very experienced. Looking forward to your reply, thank you. So I talked about this on the doctor shows before. If you're going to do steroids and your health is any concern to you, and you're only going to do one or the other, you're only going to do pills, orals, or injectables, you should do injectables. Why are injectables healthier? Steroids in general, I'm not saying steroids are healthy. There's no healthy way to use steroids in the amount that bodybuilders like to use them to see extreme muscle growth. However, orals, taking them in pill form, means you have to swallow them, they have to go through your stomach, your colon, all that, but it also has to go through all the other organs to be filtered and processed, your liver, your kidneys. So you are going to see damage to your internal organs, to those organs, the liver and the kidneys, with the use of oral steroids. You'll see your liver enzymes go up even in short time, like 4 weeks. Probably takes less time than that. I'm not an expert, but I do know a little bit. So taking something like only dianabol, only anavar, only winstrol, only anadrol, a lot of people are under the mistaken impression that that's a healthier way to go about it. Just because needles have this stigma, people are afraid of needles. They're thinking, oh my God, I got to stick this needle into my body, into my shoulder, my ass, whatever. It just sounds like it's dangerous. It's actually a lot safer because that's going to be absorbed directly into your bloodstream without having to go through your stomach, your liver, your kidneys. It's going to miss all that because you're not swallowing it. It's not being digested. It's bypassing all that. It's going directly into your bloodstream very slowly, of course, because it's an oil. These are mostly oil-based compounds that we're talking about. Another thing is, I want to talk about the stigma about needles because a lot of natural bodybuilders especially, when they decide to use steroids, they have this idea that they're just going to do orals, and they think that's better. They think that's safer, it's healthier, and like I just said, it's actually the opposite. It's actually more of a risk to your health to do that. You'd be so much better off just using injectables. A small amount of testosterone stacked with something else like DECA, winstrol, equipoise, for the more adventurous of you, some tren, whatever. But just a little bit of test and DECA would be perfect for a beginner. That's 500 milligrams of test, 400 or 500 milligrams of DECA. You'd be golden. You'd get great results. The problem with these oral cycles, like I said, is you're going to see your liver values go up, your liver enzymes go up. Eventually, if you stayed on 12 weeks, at a small dose, you probably wouldn't see too much damage. But if you're someone who's doing 2 or 3 anadrol 50s a day, you could definitely see jaundice in that amount of time where your skin starts looking yellow, like the characters on The Simpsons. The whites of your eyes start going yellow. And that's a sign, a clear sign that your liver is in jeopardy. So, I know a lot of people have this thing about needles sticking to the skin. It's going to hurt. Yeah, it hurts, but you'll get used to it. I'm not trying to talk you guys into shooting steroids. I'm just saying, if you've made your mind up that you're going to do steroids anyway, I'd much rather see you guys doing an injectable. It's so much safer. It's just a healthier way to go about it. And like I said, there's no healthy way to use steroids. in the amounts that bodybuilders like to use them. Steroids aren't meant to be used for muscle growth. That's not why they were developed in the first place. They were developed for things like wasting conditions, people, burn victims, anemics, people that really needed to bolster their bodies because some illness or something had wasted their bodies away, and there was a risk of dying from that. So yeah, I don't like to even, the whole concept of using orals as sort of a bridge or a gateway. It's like I'm not quite ready for injectables. If you're ready for steroids, if you've made up your mind you're going to use steroids, there's no point in just using orals. Like I said, you'll get some results, but you're also playing with your health. Whereas injectable, you're not going to see any short-term damage to your health with injectable steroids. Over the long term, sure, they'll wreak havoc with your heart, your arteries if used in excess, things like that. High blood pressure, if you have that for a long time, it's going to ruin your kidneys. But orals do a lot more damage in a shorter amount of time. The reason I think they're so popular is, a lot of people don't want to go take the trouble of buying needles. They don't want to go to the trouble of doing the injections. And also, if they can't do the injection themselves and they want to keep this secret, which a lot of people do, especially someone who's been natural for a long time, they want people to think they're still natural. And they're not going to ask somebody to inject them, because then, unless that person's definitely a well-trusted confidant or a wife or something, they might tell people, you know what, Joey Natural over there, I've been shooting him up with Test and Trend twice a week. That's why he just put on 10 pounds. So yeah, I would encourage any of you who are going to use steroids anyway, but you think pills are the way to go, no. Google sterile injection techniques, how to inject steroids. There's so much stuff out there. You can do it yourself. It's not that hard. It's hard when the first couple times you do it, but it gets easier and easier. Second question is something I'm a little more passionate about, which is training. I don't get a lot of training questions because a lot of you guys out there, you don't think training matters. You think it's just all drugs. There's a lot of guys, I see tons and tons of guys messaging me, contacting me, asking about drugs. And I look at their Instagram and I see they don't even look like they train, or barely look like they train. You could get to a point where you have a really good base of size and strength naturally without steroids. And then when you add the steroids in, as I say, they'll do much more for you. But it's obvious to me, these people, when they ask me about steroids and I look at their profile picture, their pictures, that they either don't train very hard, or they have barely been training. They haven't been training long, that's for damn sure. And they probably don't eat enough. I mean, if you have all that in place, you'll look pretty good. You won't look like you're on drugs, but then you add the drugs in. Anyway, this comes to me from a gentleman I've been in contact with for years, older bodybuilder like myself, Scott Rosardi. Says, I know you like the push-pull legs. That's a split that I've been doing for a couple of years now. I do that push-pull legs, off day, push-pull legs. That's my typical split. I haven't been doing legs in quarantine because I'm trying to actually downsize my quads. I also know when you interviewed Lee Haney, you agreed with him about hitting the muscles more frequently and not destroying muscles like Haney did. He didn't destroy them. He was an advocate of not destroying your muscles. For us older bodybuilders, can you talk about that? Stimulating, not annihilating the body by hitting more frequently. Getting older, not training like Dorian per se. Yeah, that was Lee Haney's catchphrase. One of his catchphrases: stimulate, don't annihilate. He believed in training a muscle twice a week, as did many other people. Ronnie Coleman trained a muscle twice a week. A lot of top bodybuilders train their muscles twice a week. It really didn't become a thing for bodybuilders to train a muscle once a week until Dorian came along and started winning the Olympia in 1992. And because he was Mr. Olympia, everyone wanted to know how he trained, and they want to emulate his training style. Because, like I said, people have this mistaken impression that the champions have some secret training methodology or diet or drug stack, that if you just could get that secret information and apply it yourself, you're going to look like that. It's not the case. I honestly believe Dorian would have looked just as good had he trained differently. I think all these guys, if they trained differently, they would have looked pretty much the same. I honestly believe that. I have heard that the argument that these people with the thick, heavy, dense musculature like Dorian and Branch, you don't get that look with lighter weights. And, to an extent, I believe that. But these guys still would have been phenomenal no matter how they trained. As long as they trained hard, It didn't necessarily have to be super heavy marathon workouts. So here's what I believe on training frequency. I do believe in hitting body parts more frequently now that I'm older especially. I did train body parts once a week for many, many years because I got serious about bodybuilding, just a few years before Dorian came on the scene. And I was heavily influenced by a couple of the same people he was, Mike Mentzer and Arthur Jones, Ellington Darden, who all espoused briefer training, hitting a muscle just once a week for just a few sets, then letting it rest for a full week. As time went by, I started to wonder and question that because I don't think a muscle needs a full week to recover, especially smaller muscle group. Like if you train your biceps on Monday, do you really think it doesn't need to be trained again until next Monday? Even something like legs or back, I don't believe they take a full week to recover. Unless you do these crazy, super intense, long work. Forget about the length of the workout, but let's just say you annihilate that body part and it is sore for a week, where the only body part I can think of that's ever going to happen to you is probably legs. I don't know anyone that's had their chest sore for an entire week or their shoulders sore for an entire week. It tends to be the legs. But why would you want to do that? Tear down the muscle so much that it takes a full week to recover. I understand the theory because I did it myself for years and years. And I was able to keep my legs sore a lot of times for 4 to 6 days because I would annihilate them. I would do all kinds of supersets, drop sets, forced reps, tons and tons of sets, different exercises. But as time went on, as the years went by, I started to question that. And when I really started to question it was when I got into DC training for a couple years. Now, Dante Trudel in DC training, he believes in hitting the body parts more frequently with shorter workouts, and this gives them more growth hits, more chances to grow, more growth stimulations, if you will. So if you're training a muscle twice a week, and there's 52 weeks in a year, assuming you don't take any weeks off, which you should be taking a couple weeks off, that muscle has been trained 52 times that year. But if you hit it twice a week, you trained it 104 times that year. Why would that be better? I really think if you do shorter workouts and don't totally destroy the muscle to the point where it's going to be sore for many days, if you can hit it again 3 days later, 4 days later, I think you're better off. I think you're going to see more gains that way. And particularly as someone gets older, I'm 50 years old, this is Scott, I believe he's about my age. As you get older, these long workouts, you don't necessarily want to thrash a body part until it's so to the point where it's going to be sore for days and days. Our recovery ability as we get older, it's definitely not the same. You're not going to recover the same from workouts at age 50 that you did when you were 20 or even 30. I know you younger guys think you're always going to look this way, you're always going to feel this way. I'm here to tell you that you are going to age unless you die young, unfortunately. You're going to age. You have a body, a human body, and it's going to show wear and tear. And it's going to, your metabolism will slow down. These things happen. And, someone will point out, well, look at Dexter Jackson. It annoys me when people always point out the one exception to the rule. Like, if I make a factual statement saying, say, Asian men are shorter on average than men from other ethnicities, races, whatever you want to call them, that's a true statement. That's backed up by all kinds of statistics. But somebody will say, well, there's this one guy in China who's 7'4", so there you go. Oh, so one guy out of 4 billion Asians just made my point invalid? No. So the vast majority of you, as you get older, you won't recover as well, especially from injuries. If you get hurt, it's going to take you much longer to recover. It's going to take you longer to recover from your workouts. Your body's just not as resilient. That's why young people can get away with doing things like partying and not sleeping and still bounce right back and be able to work out and go to work. And, you try that when you're 45, 50 years old, try staying out all night partying. It's going to take you a day or two just to recover from that. I've experienced that in my later 40s when I tried to party and realized, man, it's times in my body, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. It takes me 2 days to recover after a full night out. So it's not quite worth it. So I do believe in hitting a body part more frequently with less volume and not destroying it. You don't have to beat the crap out of it with tons of supersets, drop sets, partial reps, forced reps, rest pause. You can do those techniques, but always keep in mind your muscle does need to recover. So the more you beat the crap out of that muscle, the more damage you do to the muscle, the longer it's going to take to recover. Personally, I would rather do a little less damage and be able to hit it again in 3 or 4 days, as opposed to beating it into the ground, annihilating it, and then I can't touch it again for a week. That's just my personal opinion. It's my experience. So that's what I recommend. Next question, can I be a pro without steroids? So these 3 questions actually all came from the same guy. I'm going to take them one at a time. Can you be a pro without steroids? Yeah, you can be a pro without steroids if you have insane genetics. I'm talking like I hate 1 in a million. It's a cliche, but you would need like 1 in a million genetics. If you were going to be able to turn pro, and I'm talking about pro in bodybuilding, without steroids, or even let's say classic physique, you would need to be so good that at the local and regional level, you were beating everybody, even though you were natural and they were on drugs, because your shape, your structure, your proportions, your metabolism, everything was so gifted that you looked better than all these other people. You wouldn't be maybe as big, probably wouldn't be as the people on drugs, but structure, shape, those are genetic. Those have nothing to do with drugs. Drugs don't change your shape. They don't change your bone structure. So somebody with really phenomenal shape and structure doesn't need to be that big. That shape, that really pretty, aesthetically pleasing shape, it goes a long way. That being said, if we're talking about open bodybuilding, your chances of turning pro naturally they're much better in the much lighter weight divisions. So maybe if you're a bantamweight or a lightweight, I'm going to say middleweight at the high end. After that, good luck. Good luck. Light heavy, heavy, super heavy. Drugs are going to be a big factor because those guys are thick. They're big, dense, very thickly muscled guys. Even if you have awesome shape, if you're a lot smaller than they are, so if you're 5'11" and 195 with great shape and structure, and you're standing next to a guy who's 5'5" and 195 pounds, and he's just built like a tank, you're probably going to lose. Some divisions, right now I'm just talking about men's divisions. Men's physique probably stand a much better chance of turning pro naturally. They don't have to be that big. They've been getting bigger. They shouldn't be getting bigger, but they are getting bigger. So your odds are best probably in men's physique, where they don't want them to be that big. Classic physique, which has height and weight restrictions. Now, I'm not saying drugs don't play a big role in classic physique. A lot of competitors use them, sure they do. But if you have incredible shape, structure, you just have a really pretty body, just those round, full muscle bellies, tiny little joints, tiny little waist, wide clavicles, narrow hips, flaring thighs. If you have that kind of shape, you're going to beat a lot of people, even if you're natural and they're on drugs. Open bodybuilding, like I said, in the lighter weight classes, you have a good chance. As you get in, the heavier you get, your odds of beating all these other guys who are on drugs and you're a natural, they go way, way down. Okay, second question from the same guy. I have a back issue and I'm overweight. I want to cut. What is the most fat burn drug that is good for me and without side effects? He's from another country, obviously. If you're overweight, I don't care about your back issue. It has nothing to do with it. You need to do cardio. You need to get on a diet. It's another one of my pet peeves is people asking me about drugs for fat loss when they haven't even tried to diet. They haven't tried cardio. They haven't tried to do any work on their own, but they want to take a pill. They want to take a drug that's going to do the work for them. That just gets, that really bothers me. It grinds my gears. As Peter used to say on Family Guy, don't be lazy. If you're going to be lazy, even the drug's not going to work because you're still going to probably eat crap food, and you're not going to do any cardio. Fat burning drugs, do they work? Of course they work. People wouldn't use them if they didn't work. Clenbuterol, very widely used. Thyroid drugs, very widely used. Even the DNP. I don't want to argue with you people who love DNP. I'm very much against DNP. I think it's just far too dangerous. I'm not going to argue with you guys. You want to use it, go for it. Go knock yourselves out. But someone who's out of shape, who's probably never worked out, and they're already asking about a drug to burn the fat, no. And all these drugs have side effects. Clenbuterol, it's going to make you shaky, could speed up your heart. Thyroid drugs, obviously, You can mess up your thyroid. DNP, you could actually die using that. There's no free lunch. I say it all the time. There's no free lunch. There's nothing you can do. None of these things that are going to be beneficial for the goal you want to achieve with your physique, they all have side effects. Every drug has side effects. If you watch TV commercials for any kind of prescription drug, whether it's for depression or psoriasis, anything, they have to say all these disclaimers, and they run them at the bottom in fine print, and a lot of times they're required by law to state them. There's a voiceover guy saying, do not take Cymbalta. Cymbalta may cause blood clotting, may cause blurriness, may cause nausea, may cause death. You know, these things all have, any drug that does one thing beneficial for you also has a litany of side effects. That's just the nature of drugs. They have various interactions on the body. So they might do one thing that's great and another thing that's not so great. Any of you who use Accutane for acne, you know what I'm talking about. I never did. Luckily, I never had that kind of acne, but Accutane is probably the most powerful drug to get rid of your acne, but it has the worst, horrible side effects. Dries people's skin out. I don't even know all the side effects, but they're horrible. Okay, last question. Same guy. I need sponsoring because I have financial problems. Okay. I know a lot of pros. I know pros who compete in various divisions at the Olympia who don't even have a sponsor. These people are among the very best in the world at what they do. They don't even have a sponsor. So a lot of people out there have this idea that somebody should sponsor them. They have this entitlement mentality. Well, I want to get in shape. I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to be a men's physique guy. I want to compete. Somebody should pay me. Somebody should pay for my food, my gym, my supplements. Even though they haven't even started working out yet. Or maybe they've started working out, but they don't look like anything special. Sponsorships, they're not charity. That's the first thing you guys need to understand. They're marketing tools for the most part. If a company signs an athlete to some sort of deal, to a contract, a sponsorship, if you will, it's not out of the kindness of their heart. It's not because, wow, we really like you, we just want to make your life easier and give you money. No, it's got to be a mutually beneficial relationship. This person, this athlete, is going to help them sell more product. Either they're going to use them in advertisements, or the much more common scenario these days with social media is you're going to post for them. You're going to be one of their athletes, and you're going to be required to post daily about how great their products are. You're probably going to have a discount code. You're going to try to direct people to their website to buy these products and use your discount code. I'm with Redcon One. I'm full disclosure here. But it's not out of the kindness of the heart. It's not charity. A lot of people have this weird mentality. I've talked to like local competitors. People have done like one show where they placed like dead last, and they're asking me, like when I was with Gaspar, it's like, hey, how do I get with Gaspar? I'm like, why would they want you? What do you think they're going to do for you? Honestly, these days, a lot of it has to do with your social media following. It's not necessarily how good of an athlete you are, contests that you've won, things like that. That somebody like that who's at the highest levels of competition is probably going to have an easier time, but they probably also have the social media following to back it up. So let's say you have 100,000 followers on Instagram. Great. Now you can come to these companies and say, I have 100,000 followers on Instagram. I really love your products. I'd like to work with you guys. And the most common thing is you'll have a discount code. You'll post and you'll get a percentage off every order that people using your code make. You might also get product every month. You'll probably get a certain amount of product every month, but you're not going to be getting, cash. Cash sponsorships are very rare now, and again, it's all because of return on investment. Why would a company just pay an athlete? They do this for only the very, very top athletes and the very top social media stars who are fitness celebrities, because these people have mega followings and it makes sense for them. They get a return on their investment. Most people who are sponsored, quote unquote sponsored, they're not getting a nickel in cash. Like I said, they're probably getting a product and they have a discount code. So they are able to earn, they're salespeople. So they're able to earn commissions on everything, all the sales that they are able to generate, which is fair. But as far as I hate to say nobody, because you're all somebody. You're all special. Even Barney the dinosaur told you that. But if you've never done anything, you've never competed, you're not a high-level competitor, and you don't have a social media following, there's nothing in it for anybody to sponsor you. So you're looking for charity, and you know, charity is for people that have horrible medical problems and you know, can't afford medical bills. It's for children that are impoverished and can't eat. It's for homeless families that need a place to live. It's for people that really need it. You don't need to get big and strong or ripped or jacked. You don't need those things. Those are great things, but you don't have some inalienable human right to be jacked or to be ripped, and you know, you're expecting somebody needs to make it happen for me. Somebody needs to help me out. There's an old Jay-Z song. I think it's called "Can I Get a What?" And the female rapper in the song says something like, "If you got nothing, boy, you better go out and get something." So if you're broke and you want to do this stuff, you want to be a bodybuilder, you want to be a men's physique, whatever, you're going to have get some money. This is not cheap. You need money for good food. You need money for a gym membership. If you're going to do drugs, you're going to need a lot of money for drugs. This is reality, guys. You got to find a way to get that money somehow. And we all need to figure out, we're all here. We all need to make money. Money makes the world go round. We all got bills to pay. So sorry you don't have any money, sir. You're not in a state of financial abundance, but nobody is going to give you money. I'm sorry. I'm just being very real with you, and anybody out there who has this wacky idea that just because you don't have much money and you want to do all this stuff that you see on social media, you know, I'd like a Bugatti. No one's gonna buy me a Bugatti. You know, just, we could go on and on like that, but that's it, guys. Little dose of reality. Appreciate your questions. Please give me some more questions in the comments below. I enjoy doing these videos. I enjoy being able to help when I can. I don't have all the answers, but I do have some of them. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so that you know when we come out with new videos. Muscular Development's pumping out new videos all the time, guys. We appreciate your viewership very much. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.